Kim, and you're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. Before we get going with today's video, I just want to take a moment to thank Roy very much for your donation to our channel's PayPal account. Thank you, Roy. I'd have to say, for the most part, the writing's on the wall. Narcissist, psychopath, a histrionics. Their agenda's pretty clear, and when you really pull the veil off, you can see what's happening. But I do miss things sometimes, and I feel like I've missed a bit of a key component that I noticed recently, and I want to talk about that today. So much of my information comes from your emails and comments, and recently I was reading an email, and the email began with, "Hi, I'm Cindy, and I am a victim of narcissistic abuse. I met my narcissist when my mother died from cancer." Call me a slow learner, but all of a sudden, after a year and a half of receiving your emails, it hit me like a bloody lightning bolt. I've heard this before. I've read this before. In fact, I read this in every email. I met my narcissist when my mother died. I met my narcissist when my dog died. I met the narc when I was diagnosed with cancer, when I lost my job, when I moved to a new town. When something happened, always something happened. So I start reading back over emails, and truly, there's a link here. I could always instantly relate to those comments because I had met Trevor when I moved to a new town and started a new job. And though I could relate to these comments, I really didn't see that common thread that links so many of us. Now, believing that we are targeted quite intentionally, I've always wondered why. I mean, can they sense in us an empathy? Can they sense in us a tolerance that will serve their agenda over time? Can they sense in us that we're going to be willing to suck up their stuff, to have the wool pulled over our eyes, that we'll tolerate the lies, the infidelity, the theft? Is it that? Possibly, but what initiates that? What is it that identifies us to narcissists as easy prey? I'm really wondering now if it's these challenging life events, a parent being diagnosed with an illness, us being diagnosed with an illness, a tragedy in our family, some sort of shift in our lifestyle, a move, new jobs, something that triggers in us this flag that now identifies us to narcissists. I think we'd all agree that tragic or challenging life events will certainly destabilize a person, redirect your focus, maybe make your focus more linear, kind of putting all the attention on that one issue versus having a broader look at what's happening in your life. And I'm just thinking that maybe that was what identified me to Trevor as someone who was going to be vulnerable. I just moved to a new town. I knew very few people. I didn't have many friends. And the people I had met were not what I would call friends. They were new in my life. They were acquaintances. I had no support network. I had no backup. In addition to that, I've got kids. So when you move to a new town, you're certainly scrambling to get the kids rooted. You've got to get them set up at school, joining the sports teams, getting them to the community center, hoping they meet new friends. So my focus was definitely not on self-protection. I was overly focused on my new job. God, I just moved to a new town. I needed to secure an income. I needed to secure employment. So I was definitely focused on this new job as well. I didn't know many people. I didn't have any friends. And of course, at this new job, well, that's where I met Trevor. He was a coworker, and he was showing interest in me, my life, asking questions about the kids. So I guess I really appreciated what appeared to be the development of a friendship. Now, it's safe to say when a victim realizes what's going on in their life and they put together an exit strategy, they get away from the narcissist, you're out on your own again, people are most definitely destabilized, shaken beyond belief, losing their minds, absolutely sick, scared, freaked out beyond belief. It's a pretty horrifying event, bloody nightmare actually. So that in itself has certainly destabilized a person. I'm wondering if that's why a new narc seems to slide in right away. I mean, since I got rid of Trevor, there's been one after the other. And so many of you have said this to me, that you got free and pow, there's another one. And you get rid of them and pow, there's another one. And I'm wondering if it's these times in our life, these periods, these challenging or traumatic times that makes us most susceptible, most vulnerable to be targeted by these things. Now, we've talked many times about the red flags and what to watch for and how to avoid the trap, but you have to actually step close to the trap to be able to notice that there's a trap being set there for you. Now, I think there might be an earlier step, a way to avoid even being targeted. Now, I think it's safe to say, and many of you will likely agree with me, that empaths tend to wear their emotions on their sleeve. There tends to be an emotional honesty about an empath where what it is what it is. We're not trying to hide or deceive or create an illusion. How we're feeling is very obvious to the world. And I think this creates a vulnerability, and I think that this identifies us to a narcissist. I'm certainly not suggesting anyone develop a state of emotional dishonesty, but is there a way that we can better cocoon how we're feeling if we are in an unstable or emotionally imbalanced state? Can we better isolate that information from potential narcissists? Now, since I started the channel, of course, I've certainly attracted my fair share of psychopaths. I mean, we've just had one loony stalker after the other here at the channel. I have been attacked publicly more times than I can count. I've been called a psychopath myself. I just don't care anymore. But I will tell you, as a friend, and guys, I love you lots, I am right now on the verge of a serious life transformation. Things have come into play that could result in a very, very big lifestyle change for me. And yes, I'm feeling happy, scared, anxious. I mean, all of that stuff is going on for me right now, and I'm in a bit of an emotional roller coaster trying to figure out what to do. Now, I am going to just remain kind of poker face and quiet about this right now, just because I know for sure that I am targeted by narcs, and I really don't want to get paranoid, but I also don't want to set myself up where I could be sabotaged. So I'm going to be taking you guys along with me every step of the way, and as things unfold, I certainly hope you guys are going to stick around and help me through that process. But I am, again, really feeling that type of vulnerability. Now, I know many of you are feeling a real need, a real calling to make a lifestyle change, and yes, it is intimidating, but with God's help, I am going to just kind of lead the way on this, and I'm hoping you guys will join me on this journey. I'm just going to have faith that everything's going to work out as it's intended to. Okay, we're a little off track, but to get back on track, I'm curious to know if you've been able to identify yourself as being in a vulnerable state when you met the narcissist. Is there a connection between a turbulent time in an empath's life and a narcissist being able to identify this? I know some of you met your narcs way back when, but I'd love it if you could please leave a comment and just let me know if you remember being in a life transition, or if there had been some trauma in your life, or if you were in a vulnerable state when you met your narcissist. I think there could be some real information there that could help us put systems in place to stay safe in the future. Guys, I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. I hope you guys are having a great narc-free day.